Am I the asshole for being annoyed that I have to make and pay for pies for my husband and his friends? Too long did not read. I offered to make a pie for husband's coworker after a tragedy. He made me pay for 3 pies, all of which I wasn't going to eat even though I've been unemployed for 6 months. Final update at the bottom. Recently a coworker of my 20 SF husband's 30 SM lost her house and he said that he wanted to invite her and her kids over for dinner. She said they're not ready to go out and socialize, so he offered to bring food to them, and she said that would be okay. Knowing how awful their situation is, I offered to make a pie for him to bring as well. I picked the pie I wanted to make and we went to the store to grab the ingredients we didn't have. As soon as we got in, I saw a grocery item that I wanted for our house, so I put it in the basket. He asked if I brought my wallet and I said no, I use my phone to pay for stuff. I assumed he was asking because he wanted to only pay for the stuff for his coworker and that I would pay for the house item that I would also be using. We continued to shop and get ingredients for the pie. When we were done, we went to self-checkout and he scanned the items then just stood to the side. Confused, I asked, "Oh, am I paying?" And he said, "Yes, that's why I asked if you had your wallet." I was a bit annoyed because he got enough for 3 pies, one for his coworker, one for his work, and one for the house, all of which I could not eat because I am on a strict diet. I was annoyed but didn't say anything and paid. We got to the car and I asked in a passive, not passive-aggressive, tone, what would have happened if I didn't have the money to pay? He replied, then we wouldn't have got anything. You said you wanted to make her a pie. For info, I have been unemployed for 6 months and only had $90 in my account and my credit card is maxed. For I left it at that and we went home. Me silently thinking in my head that I thought it was unfair that I used half the money I have left in my account to make and pay for food that I wouldn't even be able to eat. I recently switched meds that can make me irritable, so I don't know if I am just overreacting because of my meds and this isn't a big deal, or if I actually have a reason to be annoyed. So please let me know. Am I the asshole? Update. I pseudo-asked him to pay me back and he got mad and sent me some of the money, but said he still owes me $15, of course with the most sour tone he could do. I knew this was going to get bigger if I gave my opinion, so I just said, okay. He tried to continue the argument, so I just replied that I wasn't going to start an argument. He sat there fuming for a while and said he wanted to ask me a question. I said, will it start an argument? And of course he said, maybe. So I said, you can ask, but I won't answer. He continues to ask angrily, if you knew I was struggling for money, why would you expect me to pay for the pie you offered to make? 1. He made a whole meal for her, so I didn't assume he was hurting for money that bad. 2. When I offered to make the pie, I never said I would pay for the ingredients. 3. The one pie I offered to make somehow turned into 3 pies. I knew no matter what I answered with, he was just going to get madder and want to keep arguing, so I didn't reply. The timer eventually went off for the possibility of the pie being done. He checked it and said he didn't know if it was done. I asked if he knows what a done pie looks like. I gave an example of the crust being lightly brown. He said yes. I said, does it look like a done pie? He said he doesn't know. I ask, does it look close to being done? He says, I don't know. I get frustrated because how does someone know what a done pie looks like, but can't tell if the current pie looks done? I get frustrated and tell him to not worry about the pie, I'll monitor them. It's been 20 minutes and now he's making food and throwing stuff on the counters and slamming drawers super loud. I'm going to try to finish the pies, then leave to let him cool off and try to ask him about setting up a couple's appointment later. Sorry I can't reply to everyone. I'm getting a lot of comments while trying to make 3 pies. Final update. So before bed we had a long discussion about multiple things. His financial status since I became unemployed, our joint account, equity and finances, and a few arguments we had recently. I'm super happy to say that we got everything off our chests and we both got a healthy dose of perspective. I hadn't realized how bad supporting both of us was on his finances. He didn't realize all the work I do in the house and never being able to buy myself anything was affecting me. He agreed that we should be using a joint account for all of our expenses, not just bills but also CC debt. We agreed to do a deep dive and make a sheet of all the bills we have, the companies they're with, and how much we pay each month. We're going to set up an Excel that we can both edit and select which bills have been paid and their next due date. We've both been looking for new banks, so we're picking one near us and both making individual accounts as well as a joint account and move all of our debts into one and pay it off as a joint credit card basically. We talked for 2+ hours and we both ended on happy terms. I'm so glad that we learned about the issues we each had, and that we both agreed to amicable solutions. Thank you so much to everyone who gave their opinion and advice. Y'all are great. I will never understand couples who don't have shared finances of some sort. Not the asshole. The only word that comes to mind is schnorrer, which is Yiddish for someone who always forgets his wallet and never turns down a handout. Not the asshole. I'm assuming that you don't have a joint account for food. It should have been paid for by your husband if he wants to help out his coworker. You're not overreacting to him just volunteering you to make 3 times as many pies as you originally agreed to, as well as pay for them all. Not the asshole. Not the asshole. But can I ask why you don't have shared finances and why you don't work? Am I the asshole, F22, for not paying for people who make less money than me? So my partner, M22, and I, F22, have been together for about 7 months and we just had a discussion that's left me a bit concerned. Just for some context, I have a good job, make very good money for my age and am decently financially stable. I would say I only reached this state a few months ago though. My partner works as a bartender with a very erratic schedule. Some weeks he works 4 days and some he works none. So I make a lot more money than him. However, I didn't come from a well-off family. I grew up in a trailer park and was abused by several family members. I got out and made it my mission to save everything penny so I could go to college. When I did, I chose the cheapest college and the cheapest program even though it wasn't what I wanted to do. I knew it would get me a good job. I worked multiple jobs, did an accelerated program, and I ended up having several disc herniations and spinal surgery while trying to finish my degree. When I finally did, I found out my partner of almost 3 years was cheating on me. I left him, and he flipped out. Unfortunately, the car we had paid for together was in his name, so he took that and he raided the house and took everything. At the time I was working a good job I had gotten with my degree, but I was only making about $45K, so it took several months of scraping and saving while in spinal surgery recovery to buy a car to get me to work. Just a few months ago I've finally gotten to a place where I have a savings cushion and I've risen in the ranks in my job and am now making about $70K. Now yesterday we were actually watching Amish Reddit stories about people who try to split the bill after people have already eaten. I kinda went on a tirade about how entitled that is and how I find it to be really rude. He seemed offended by this and said, if you make significantly more than someone like a friend, you should pay for them at like dinners and stuff. I countered saying, for me, I've worked extremely hard to be in a better place so I should be responsible for others who haven't, like I was there too at one point. He then said, but you are in a better place now. I didn't see why that should matter and I told him, that was a really entitled mindset and it makes me feel used as while others were just living life. I put everything like friends, trips, buying myself things, eating out, on hold so I could invest in my future and I should be expected to give money to people who haven't done that, he said, W.E. And we didn't talk about it again. Just for context in the relationship as well, I do pay for most dates and meals. Partly because I know he makes way less than me and for a partner I'm willing to do that, but I do also feel a bit of pressure to as well. Now I'm feeling some type of way cause if I am actually the asshole I kinda want to know, so I thought I would ask the internet and see what the verdict is. Too long did not read. My boyfriend thinks I should pay for people who have less money than I do. Update. I just wanted to add an update here after reading everyone's comments. I really appreciate how many people have taken the time to respond. I did just want to say that I don't believe people who have less are lazy. I have a lot of friends who make less through no fault of their own. They work multiple jobs or fill time hours though, or they have some kind of situation that prevents them from it. When I made the comment about it being my hard work I was mostly thinking about my boyfriend who works not even close to full time and is perfectly able, but makes no plans for the future. My sister is moving in with me next month and I plan to pay for most of her stuff until she can get on her feet because I sympathize and most importantly I can see she's trying. It's just people who are very clearly being lazy and expect me to pay because I'm not. It makes me feel unseen specific by my boyfriend because I worked so hard and now he just acts like he deserves my money. It really bothered me one time when I went a month and a half without a day off in March and I really felt like I was busting my ass just to subsidize his date meals when he could just work an extra shift. But thank you again for all the support. I appreciate all the time it took people to read this and respond. Not the asshole. You're not responsible for picking up the bill for your friends. It is a courtesy, not an obligation. Everyone should expect to be paying for their own food. Your boyfriend is the asshole for making such a big deal about this and being so rude to you. He knows you are a self-made woman who built herself up from nothing, but treats you like you were born with a silver spoon. All the while he's barely working more than 20 hours a week. So entitled. Not the asshole, but it feels like he's setting you up for paying for him as much as possible. Don't put yourself in a situation where you are the one paying for others constantly or paying for him constantly. Not the asshole. He's trying to justify you paying his way by saying that everybody is entitled to your money. $70K is a long way from Jeff Bezos' stratosphere. It's okay to live a decent life but not to go around subsidizing people who make less than you. Sounds like your boyfriend is justifying himself mooching off of you. Not the asshole. There are situations in life where picking up the tab is a nice thing to do, but it is not a requirement, nor should anyone make you feel like it is. Later in life you will find that alternating when out for drinks or something is common, as is just splitting the tab. But only do that with people who return the favor. Am I the asshole for getting frustrated at a guy giving me workout advice? So I, 20F, have been going to the gym for the past couple of months. I don't particularly need to, as I've been slim my whole life. I just started going to get myself to be more active again. I don't have a set routine, I just focus on cardio and weights here and there. Yesterday, while I was on the treadmill, a guy started walking on the treadmill next to me, which I thought was a little odd since the gym wasn't busy. He tapped me on my shoulder and gestured for me to take my headphones off. When I took them off, I asked him if something was wrong, and he started to introduce himself and let me know that he had noticed me whenever I arrive at the gym, since he is usually there at the same time. He started talking about how he's been going to the gym for a while now, so he knows a lot about nutrition, the machines at the gym, how to achieve a specific target when working out, etc. He said that he noticed that I don't really have a set routine when I work out, and talked about how I don't designate days to one area of my body but instead just work on several parts of my body each time. Not doing sets, not using specific machines, and ended up just calling my workouts a sloppy mess and said that I need to have a workout plan to work on a different part of my body each time. I let him know that I don't take the gym seriously enough to want to create a plan, and I prefer to work on each part of my body in one session since I don't have the time to go to the gym every day. After going back and forth of him telling me what I should do for each body and me repeating that I am perfectly okay with the way I do things, I ended up getting frustrated and told him to leave me alone. He looked really surprised at my reaction. Looking back at the look on his face, I slightly feel like I overreacted, but I also feel like my reaction was justified. I told my brothers about the encounter and they said I could have handled the situation better, so I asked them to put themselves in my shoes. What if a random person had come up to you in the gym and let you know every time they see you working out they analyze what you do and formulate a routine for you, then gave you unsolicited advice despite you repeating the fact that you're comfortable with what you're doing? They still told me that I shouldn't have gotten frustrated and simply heard him out. Now I'm just all round torn and don't know if I overstepped with my reaction. Am I the asshole? Edit. I just wanted to thank those who reassured me about my response to him. To those who said I was too nice, honestly I don't have it in me to just tell someone I'm not interested in the conversation right from the get-go. I hate feeling like I'm being unnecessarily rude. Also, for those commenting that my brothers seem just like that guy and seem to be misogynistic, I completely understand. We come from a very stereotypical Caribbean family, which I think explains the type of men, and women, I have in my family and misogyny women face in our culture. Thank you all again. Not the asshole. He was hitting on you. Put him in his place, the reject pile. Not the asshole. Being in the world is not an open invitation for others to offer unsolicited advice during unsolicited encounters. He was, at best, socially clueless. But it's most likely he's been timing his gym visits to yours, has been watching your workouts to design his approach, and then decided that mansplaining your workout deficits to show how much you need him. You were not harsh. He'll either learn about boundaries or refine his approach. Neither concerns you. In the interest of safety, keep him on your radar and watch for escalation. Not the asshole. I'm a dude and that was mansplaining to AT, he deserved the pushback. I had someone do that to me unsolicited before and totally rubbed me the wrong way. Not the asshole. That guy is a creep and a stalker. He would not have tapped a man on the shoulder and made him take off his headphones and launch into his explanation like he did with you. He was desperate for your attention, and I bet this is not the first time he's pulled a stunt like this with a woman. When men complain that they think it's so hard to meet women and talk with women, they can blame other men like this guy. This was a sad attempt at negging. He was criticizing your gym routine in the hopes you'd seek help from him. Am I the asshole for refusing to go to my brother's wedding if he keeps my ex-husband as a groomsman? My brother, 29M, got engaged to his fiancée, 28F, this summer. They are planning on getting married next spring, early summer. They have been working on putting their wedding party together, and they did a video call with me, 32F, a couple weeks ago to ask me to be a bridesmaid. I of course agreed because I love them both and I am very happy for them. However, during the call, and after I had already agreed to be a bridesmaid, my brother dropped a bomb on me. He said that he hopes this doesn't cause any issues, but he wants to ask my ex-husband, 30M, to be one of his groomsmen. My initial reaction was not the best. I basically said, "What? Why? Are you serious? WTF?" For some history, my ex and I were high school sweethearts and married young. We were both 23 when we married and were divorced by the time we turned 25. No infidelity or Abu Dhabi of any kind. Just a toxic relationship we were too young to recognize properly, and eventually we got to a point in our marriage where we just hated each other. Thankfully, we never had kids and we were too young to have many assets, so the divorce was easy since neither of us wanted anything to do with the other. I moved away, got a new job, and started a new life. My ex stayed in our hometown, where my brother currently lives. I haven't spoken to my ex in almost 5 years. Obviously, my brother has known my ex for a long time and they were always close. Apparently, they remained close friends after the divorce even though my brother never mentioned it to me. My brother told me that he understands this might be a bit awkward, but it's just for one day and it's not like my ex and I are going to have to walk down the aisle together. He said they will try to do whatever they can to keep distance between us if needed, but that both me and my ex are very important people to him and he wants both of us involved in his wedding. I know a lot of people will probably call me petty and immature, but I want nothing to do with my ex. There's a reason I haven't spoken to him in so long. I have no desire to speak to him, let alone be in the same wedding party as him. There's going to be a lot of wedding party activities that are going to involve being in close proximity to him for extended periods of time. I want nothing to do with that. I explained all of this to my brother and told him that if he's going to keep my ex as a groomsman, I don't think I can be a bridesmaid and I might have to reconsider even attending the wedding. This led to a big back and forth with my brother trying to bargain with me and convince me that it won't be that big of an issue, and me pretty much telling him this is non-negotiable for me. Since that conversation, I have been contacted by our other sister, 26, and my mom pretty much telling me to grow up and that I'm being petty and immature and that I can handle being in the same general area as my ex for a short period of time to support my brother. You are the asshole. It would be one thing if your ex had been abusive. But you stated that isn't the case. In my mind, if you love your brother you will suck it up to be in the same room as the guy for one day. Nah. I don't get the big deal. Don't go, it's fine. Can you go to the ceremony and sit in the back and duck out before the reception? That way your brother will at least know you were there for his wedding, just not for the socializing part. Not the asshole. Now that you're fully informed of who makes up the wedding party, you are no longer interested. And an invite is just that, an invite. You are under no obligation to attend. Your brother can be friends with whomever he wants, and you can spend his wedding day doing what makes you happy. You are not petty or immature. I'm 56 and don't go places where I know people I don't care for will be. Not the asshole. Your brother was very crafty in keeping the friendship a secret from you and then manipulative in getting you to accept a role as bridesmaid only to drop the bomb on you as your reward for being trusting.